There we are. Welcome on YouTube. We are live on YouTube, or at least we hope so. We should be.
I'm watching. Oh, it says there's five people watching.
Wow,
and I'm only one
that's
of them.
just great. Well, I'm one of them too, but that's fine.
Oh,
So
okay.
anyway, sound check. I think sound check's working. It should be the same sort of experience because I'm using OBS the same way I did with Twitch. I did up the quality a little bit. We were doing
How long is the delay
20
to YouTube? Because it's
20
still showing
seconds,
the.
so that's a long time. It's twice as long as with Twitch. So we have
Okay.
plenty of time to.
Hey,
we
there
have
we
plenty
are.
of time to kill the stream if something really bad happens.
Is that YouTube making sure that we are not
Yes,
shouting?
They will kill
the
if
wrong
we use
words,
certain
or-
words. They will just kill the stream probably. I'm not sure.
Also,
They are
as you say-
saying that I think Twitch is or YouTube is more strict in all kinds of stuff than Twitch is. So we'll see if YouTube will be okay. But okay, we'll just see what happens. Okay, I am not sure if the chat window, because I don't see a chat. So let me just shortly see if I can bring up the chat window here. Because if somebody wants to talk to us, we should probably be able to see that. And I can't now. So maybe we should just leave it at that. Because I don't think I can really...
I have a window down here that says
yeah,
top
I have
chat.
that too. But I don't have... I can't see the chat. I think.
Our top viewer on Twitch is not live with us at the
okay.
moment.
So then we don't know
So-
exactly what's happening. Well, doesn't really matter. We'll just go on and assume that everything's
Yeah.
right. Okay. So what I was saying is that I did change some settings in OBS, which makes it all a bit daunting because I upped the quality. We were doing streams in 720p. I started doing that because I didn't know if bandwidth and everything was going to be a problem. Well, it wasn't at all, and it probably shouldn't be at HD too. So now the stream should be of better quality altogether because it's now HD. So that's an improvement. And the thing we hope is that doing this on YouTube will make the whole experience more seamless and easier for people to join us live, and that's just something that might help. Also, I don't have to export the video from Twitch into YouTube, and then do all that. So when it's done, and it sort of almost automatically goes into YouTube as a saved video. So anyway, we'll see how that all goes. If people are
Like admin question: am I in focus? Because
yes,
I can't
you are.
tell.
But I will let me just also share the screen with you. I think this is the screen. You should now be able to see the OBS screen, the two of you, and that's probably a little bit better. Okay, so today, news of the week. Couple of things we need to talk about probably. Chris has has received some Lego, and I think it's great to take a look at that. We started last week with the TV thing, and I think we can talk a little bit more about that because we didn't really came to any conclusion. And then we should probably do an AirTag update. It's not a big update, but we should probably talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's a confusing
a little
update.
bit, so we'll keep the best to the end. Anyway, let's just try and start with if I can get that all running. Start with the news of the week, and maybe we should start with Formula One, just because that was absolutely great. I just have the Red Bull background just as a to keep everything in theme. Okay.
Yeah.
I did see it live this time, which is obviously better than not seeing it live. But it was actually boring in a way, but in a good way because because Max was just dominant and really on fire. The car looked really good. It started looking good already, I think, in practice and quali.
I was confused why the Mercedes had nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, even after the first pit stop when Max dialed in more wing, which slowed him down, the Mercedes had nothing. They couldn't catch him.
No. I don't know exactly, obviously, what happened, but you are right. They were just stronger, and Mercedes isn't. So that's, I mean, it brings all kinds of questions. The Mercedes last year looked like it was on rails when they did the quali. It was just doing everything. No corrections in the steering, nothing. And that happened. That Red Bull is that car now because it was really on rails, and it looked so much better than it did last year. And they made some changes. We will probably never know what it is and whether or not it's legal or not. We will also never know if Mercedes did something that was illegal last year. Those things can happen, but we just don't know. I don't see Lewis being suddenly not as good as a driver as he was. It can't be that, so it is in the car. And what it is, we don't know. And Mercedes says they don't know, but that could be a trick too because they are playing mind games a lot.
Well, Mercedes also said this week they've now stopped development on the 2021 car.
Yeah.
So
but that's also sandbagging.
They've given up, but I don't think they would give up that easily.
I'm sure they don't. Because
not now.
I heard that first, and then I heard a podcast with Damon Hill and two other people, and they had a Mercedes engineer live in their show. We should do that too, probably. And he was actually saying that they are doing updates and they are working on the current car to make it better. So it's different information. I mean, it's easy for Mercedes the way they are to take that position because it'll be like, Red Bull becomes world champion this year, but that's only because we didn't develop the car. They are like that. They are German in that way. They will not admit if the car is worse. They will find a reason for it to be and take away from Red Bull's power. That's just the way they are. That's the way Toto Wolff functions. I don't know, but we'll see what happens in the next race and the next races to come. But it looks good. It looks better and better and better. We're not there yet, but it looks like there is a real chance that Red Bull can or Max can become a world champion now. And
it looks more realistic than it has done for the last 2 or 3 years.
Definitely. Yep. So that's great. And all these we were thinking about because there wasn't a lot to see. Well, in the midfield there were some nice things, but for the top, you knew what was happening. It looked really solid. So not a lot of things going on there. But the board radios were quite interesting because obviously they were all complaining about their tires and they were saying there's a problem. Then Max had a problem with his brake pedal, which was not there anymore suddenly, which is a problem obviously. And then you're thinking, is this really the case? Are they trying to just say things in order to have the other team react in a certain way? Because it's becoming more and more of a mind game, the whole thing.
Well, but it's been a mind game forever. I mean, you remember 10 years ago, the big mind game was they'd send everyone out into the pits to get the tires out, and then they wouldn't pull a car.
Things like that. You're right. That of course has been happening for quite some time, but it's still the same, and it gets even worse, I think. that mind game stuff. I'm just playing with the website a little bit. Anyway, so yeah,
I see this.
Well,
so
what they said about the speed of the Red Bull. I read a story today on one of the Formula One sites that their oil supplier, I think it's Mobile or whatever, created a new version with even some ingredients from the pharmaceutical or the healthcare industry or whatever. So really trying to find other ways of lubricating the whole
healthcare
engine.
So they've added the COVID vaccine into the oil.
Yeah.
So as they drive around the track, everyone gets vaccinated. Is that what's going on?
But this well, no, this can't be true, because actually, since they are using this oil, the radio of Max is out of order. So and also the radio should be better with the 5G on board now. So it's no, it can't be that one.
It is, but
no.
Okay. Anyway, it's great, that it goes so well, and it's also great to see Mercedes struggling. I don't think they're taking it very well. They're being a little bit childish about it, but that's all in the game probably. And then what do you think about the burnout that Max did?
As soon as he did that, I just looked at that and went, "That's going to be a penalty."
Yeah.
And they talked about it on one of the shows over here, and they said the problem was that he basically came to a stop while the back markers were still doing 180. And it wasn't so much the burnout, it was the speed difference between him and the back markers that were still coming around behind him.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, yeah. Indeed, the rules say that you should not slow down after the finish line.
No.
But I actually think he was more or less already slowed down before the finish line. He never went up to speed again after the last corner. So he drove slowly over the finish line and then did the burnout. So he did, I think, exactly what was okay.
But he needs to be careful doing that, because that's the sort of thing. I mean, I was really surprised he didn't get a penalty for that.
Yeah.
Or a fine or something.
Yeah.
Because Mike Massey, the race director, is not known for being tolerant of that sort of thing.
Yeah, this is a discussion. When you see the internet, a lot of people say, why it's bullshit, why would they make a problem out of that? But I understand completely why it's a safety hazard. And there are some examples of accidents that happened just because of that speed difference. We had that accident when they restarted the race a couple of
and Portimao.
So I can see that point. Yeah. On the other hand, there is this thing that safety is becoming obviously it's important, and you should look at that. So there's no other way probably. But on the other hand, it takes away a lot of the emotion and nice things out of racing. When you look at MotoGP, there is no safety at all. They just do whatever they feel like, and that's all fine. I'm not saying that's a good thing, because if it's not safe, obviously you don't want to do it. But on the other hand, there has to be some sort of balance in that. And I'm not sure, if you should really, I don't know. It's a difficult discussion. If you look at safety, you shouldn't do that. That's it. But things like that, doing just the joy of it, being happy and doing a burnout is great. Probably you should have done it at another point later after the first lap, or not directly after he finished. So anyway, that's
on the other hand, he did it, and he didn't get a penalty for it. Just a remark that he shouldn't do it anymore. No, so totally. It was a top action.
Totally agree. And he won't do it again, and that's fine, probably. So.
I just worry about stuff like that. I'm like, that is such a well-earned win, and it was just so sudden. I just thought he's going to get a penalty, or he's going to get a fine or something. They're going to take it away from him for doing that.
Well, luckily,
But then the BS of the pit stops, which will be slower.
We need to talk about that too. I don't understand it. Maybe
so
you
that
understand it. What I have understand about that, what I read about that, is that they feel that doing pit stops too fast could be a safety hazard because there's not enough time to react if something goes wrong. Okay.
Yeah. So Mercedes complained, and they said Red Bull are being unsafe because they're doing their pit stops too fast, and Red Bull haven't had an unsafe pit release in 3 years. And in the same time, Mercedes have been fined and had points taken off them 3 times for unsafe pit releases.
So
exactly.
So what they want is Red Bull to stop using the sensors on the guns that allow them to torque the wheels up so quickly. They're saying it should be a more manual system. Allegedly, that was in place this weekend, and Red Bull still did faster pit stops than Mercedes. So
we'll have to see how this goes. But how far do you take these things? What do you? I mean, how much do you take seriously? I mean, if Mercedes starts complaining,
the reason Mercedes complained was because of what happened last weekend.
Yes.
That's all. And that was nothing to do with the speed of the pit stop. That was because Max had a fast in-lap and a fast out-lap.
They're just using their power to disrupt Red Bull as much as they can, and they're using the FIA or Marco Masi to do that. And I understand that that's all in the game because that's Formula One. That's Formula One too. But this specific thing is just unbelievable. It's crazy.
It used to be Ferrari that would complain about this.
And how are you gonna? Okay, you talk about the sensors. Okay, that's a thing that you can say. Okay, you can't use sensors anymore. Okay, but they were talking about 0.15 seconds between putting the wheel on and release, and they were talking about tenths of seconds that you need to make sure. So you put on a wheel and you want to say go, but you think, oh, I need to wait 0.2 of a second, and now I say go. I mean, this is crazy. They were putting times to that. You can't do that. And then again,
how are you going to measure that, and how are you going to enforce it?
You can't enforce it. Well, if it's about you can't have sensors, okay, obviously you can enforce that. But the other things you can't enforce it. And why? I mean, it's a technological sport. Everybody's trying and investing money and time in being quickest in every which way they can, and now they're saying, okay, maybe if we put the car under a slight angle at the pit stop, we can make faster pit stops, and then obviously Red Bull can say no, that's not safe because you are at a weird angle now, so they can now start complaining about that. I mean,
But there are some teams that do that. If you look, some of the backmarkers, their pit boxes are angled so they can get a faster in.
And then they have to, because there is the angle has to be 90 degrees for the materials to do the pit stop, and they're also in an angle now, and that means that they can't drive the cars out of the box safely. So now the cars are crooked in the box. So it's crazy, and
They talked about this from the point of view of the jackman at the front as well, the guy who stands in front of the car. And they said, there's been a few instances where the cars come into the pits fast enough that he's hit the jackman and they were talking to Martin Brundle on Sky, and he said, Formula One cars are great at speed, but they're just really clumsy when you slow them down. And then he said, if you've ever driven a Formula One car, you would never volunteer to be the front jackman.
No, I can see that.
So it's probably the guy who lost the drinking game the night before or whatever.
Yeah, you're on the front jack today.
Well, I'm just wondering, where does it stop?
It's just mind games. Yeah. If it was really badly the other way around. I mean, Red Bull were doing the same sort of thing a couple of years ago with Mercedes, and now it's just the other way around. So, the number 2 and the number 3 teams will always complain about the number 1 team.
Well, it looks like Red Bull is not really responding to it. They just take it and make sure that
any comments about it. That's great. You know, also the slow pit stop they had with Perez, which was, you know. But anyway, they didn't really make. They just said okay.
Yeah, trouble getting the left rear off.
And then you're thinking, did they change something? Is this already? Does this already reflect a change?
But aren't you glad that happened? That they didn't bring Max in first and have that happen to him?
Okay, let's move on another clock. We're into clocks too. We should put that in as a tag probably. Because I think that let's play this.
Why is my video short and fat now?
Oh, is it?
I'm all squeezed down.
It's not in the stream, so that's fine. Okay, so the clock. Why is the clock not running? Oh, when I close the window, it stops. Oh, that's nice. When I minimize my Chrome, the video stops playing in the stream. Excellent. Anyway, so I think it was Chris that sent me this, obviously because we discussed the other magnetic ball clock. This is something that we should also discuss. It looks pretty how to say it, it looks a bit amazing and a bit but what is it? It's fluids, obviously. Is it magnetic fluids? Is it something else? Did you find out how it works?
It's a ferrofluid.
Yeah.
So it's like an oil that's been mixed with particles of iron, so that the substance. I mean, that's the simplest version of it. But if you look up what a ferrofluid is, you can do all sorts of really interesting stuff with it. And what they've done here is they've made a clock out of it, so that you can direct the fluid into different places.
Yeah, and then obviously you can make a clock out of it. It's funny. I can see the technology behind it. It's pretty. It's not easy. It might be a prototype of some sort, but if you look at the number of wires and everything, it's just unbelievable.
But then it's a magnetic field they can position, or they put on and off on certain points.
Yep, and it's just a magnetic fluid. So when they turn the magnets on and off in a certain order, they can direct the fluid to go to different places. So it's just
like a matrix of magnets.
So Audi use this in their cars. So in the very high end, in like the Audi R8, they have their active shock absorbers, their active dampers. The oil is a ferrofluid in the damper, and what they do to make the dampers stiffer is they power up an electric coil around the outside of the shock absorber, and it makes the oil thicker. It makes the oil more resistant to compression, and it's instantaneous. So it happens within like milliseconds. So they can measure how fast the wheel is starting to move, and if the wheel is starting to move too fast, they just turn the power up, and it clamps down the shock absorber.
Okay, I didn't know that.
So it's pretty clever. So Audi use it in cars, and now you can have it in a clock.
Yeah, really fun. The only thing is that
we should ask our massive number of viewers to crowdsource one of these as well.
We are, especially when we're already at exactly €0 on the other project. We might be quick there, but So it's.
Oh, I just got a text. Apparently, we beat Germany. I'm guessing we're talking about football.
Well,
it's.
The UK beat Germany. Oh, that's cool.
Apparently
and
England beat Germany.
France, so that's good. So
okay.
Breaking news.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, that's great. Anyway, so the clock. Yeah, it's great. The only thing I'm thinking is you need to if you want to direct the fluid, the magnets need to sort of pull it in a row. You can't just put on a magnet because the fluid won't bridge the gap, I would think. So
no, you have to turn on the magnets in sequence.
And it would automatically flow down, I would think. So how do they? It's not easy, I would think, to make that happen, and that's why it looks like crap, probably.
Let's get him on the show and ask him.
Well,
we'll put him on after Adam Savage.
it's probably a thin line on how much fluid you can use.
Yeah.
Or you should use to and cannot use, otherwise it will drop down probably.
Yeah, there are all kinds of difficulties with that. I would think, but well. Anyway, so that was the clock, and I think for news, did we forget something? No, I don't think there wasn't a lot of news.
No, I think we're good. I think we're good.
I was so busy last week that I didn't have time for anything. So let's just move over to Chris and have him unbox his Lego stuff. That would be great.
I have a small amount of stuff.
Yeah, I don't. You are out of focus now. I don't know if there's anything you can do about that, but you were sitting back a little bit, probably, and then you were out of focus. So maybe your auto focus isn't on.
That wouldn't surprise
me. And normally
me.
That's okay in manual focus if you stay in the same position, but when you move back, you are going out of position. And obviously, you want to have a very sharp and detailed picture. When you, that's a lot better.
Okay, so we talked a couple of weeks ago about these Lego Speed Racers or Speed Champions.
Mm-hmm.
So I have some new ones.
Okay, that's totally out of focus.
So, yeah, I need to. That's Skype.
Yeah,
that's
Skype is.
Doing that.
You did a blurry background or something. You
so
didn't.
Yeah. Let's do that.
That's probably better if you switch that off. Yeah.
That's better.
Oh, it's you,
Chris.
Hello.
I thought it was some sort of magnetic clock that was moving around, but it was Chris.
Yeah. Just a blob moving around the screen.
Anyway, Lego. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I picked up a few Legos. So the first one I got was this guy, which is the which one was this? This is the McLaren Senna.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see it's kind of a small box, but these cars are they're designed to be
quick build. Yeah.
Quick to build and everything. I got the GTR Nismo.
Yeah, cool.
It's kind of an interesting looking one. The back of this, they've done a really good job of capturing the look of the back of the car on this one.
Wow, that's cool.
Very well done.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's see. I got the Ferrari.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
Which is another nice one. So again, they've captured the look pretty well. I mean, these are small cars. They're not once they're assembled, they're only going to be this big. So they've done a good job of capturing the detail on those. And then, of course, I had to get this guy.
Yes. The short Quattro.
Yeah, the short wheelbase Quattro.
So cool.
So
amazing. Yeah.
Again, something
looks great. Oh yeah, those are fun.
And
fun cars to build.
Yeah, and they've done a reasonably good job of capturing the look of it. The big scoop on the front and everything. So, and then the last one I got was a slightly different set. That's my phone. The last one I got was a slightly different set, which was this one.
Okay, that's the electric Formula E car. What is it? And the E-Pace.
Yeah. So it's the electric it's the I-Pace that they use in the electric I-Pace Championship, and then the Formula E car that Jaguar have as well.
Cool. Yeah.
So, and then that's that one.
So cool. Yeah, they're really fun, and to have them as a sort of a collection is great. To put them all together.
Yeah.
That's.
And it's kind of cool because I have an I-Pace, only mine's red, but it means I will have a Lego version of the car that I drive. Which is...
Yeah, that's very cool.
And it was cheaper doing it this way round. For example, if I started with the Lego Audi Quattro, it'd be a lot more expensive to go and buy one of these the other way around.
Okay.
So I thought I'll start with the real car and buy the cheap Lego one, which is what I've done. I'm not going to go and buy the real car for the rest of these. That would be...
That's what I did.
Desirable but foolish.
I bought the Aston Martin DB5 from James Bond, and now in Lego, and now I want to have the real one. Yeah.
Now you want the real one.
Well, you do have the 500.
But you can see the size difference of the boxes. I guess you can sell the size difference of the car.
So they're not like the same scale then, or?
No, they're the same scale, but I think this is less pieces, or it's just a shorter car or something. But
okay, yeah, that's.
But yeah, the McLaren box is considerably smaller than the Ferrari box.
Okay.
And I think the Audi was the same. Yeah, the Audi is the same as the Ferrari.
Yeah,
so
interesting.
But yeah, the McLaren is smaller, and then the Jaguar is bigger because it has two cars.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see if you build them and then how they look.
Yeah, I'll put these together over the next few weeks, and then we'll just show them as they get built.
That's great stuff. Cool.
And yeah, they're really cool. I mean, each one of these is like $19, so they're for Lego they're cheap.
Yeah,
definitely.
And how many are there?
I think there's like 12 or 14. They have some American ones, and they have some older muscle cars and things, but I kind of like those ones. But they're all the same scale. They're all close to minifigure scale, and they're all enough pieces that you would put them together in 20 minutes or 30 minutes, so none of them are particularly complicated.
Okay, that's cool.
But yeah,
well, it'd be interesting to see how they look when they're done. So great. I am fiddling a little bit with another window because I can see there's windows and icons and people all over.
I'm
gonna try and show you something that I have bought again. Yes,
clever,
and that never works, obviously. So let's see if I can change that around a little bit and then bring that in. Where is Oscar's source? Yeah, it needs to go on top.
Oscar, you need to be on top.
You need to be on top of things. So change that around. Why isn't that working? Why isn't that?
I mean, this is mesmerizing YouTube.
Yes,
for
because they don't have a clue what I'm.
They have no idea what's going on in this window on this side here.
No idea. And
what's going on over here is far more exciting than what's going on the actual live stream.
There's something really weird going on because, well, I don't even know if I can explain it, but it's,
the look that everyone else can see on your face down here.
It's better now.
This is the look of Paul multitasking.
But I think I'm ready now.
You're big enough.
I'm big enough now. It shouldn't be any bigger, probably. Let's just to make sure that I'm Paul, that everybody knows that. Like this, a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
Anyway, what I've done is my GoPro stopped working, so I'm gonna do it like this. Went for this one. This is a really non-interesting car. I owned one, but I owned a couple actually, and because it's I think it's British Touring Car Championship where they had a year where they drove these, but when I saw somebody on the internet, they made this version, which is the blue Omega Security. I don't know if you can see it version.
Yeah.
And you could buy sort of all the decals and the different wheels for it. And then when it's all blue, and I've got the Zero Paints, see where it is, the Zero Paints blue, the Securitor blue, and that makes it suddenly a lot nicer. So, and it's more interesting. So I thought I'd just go for that. It's a nice car. The wheels are really into the real wells. So I just thought that it would be nice to make that one. And then something else. And I've been looking for this one so long, and it wasn't available anymore. But I finally found one. Which is the old Toyota Corolla. Like the 70s Corolla. And my dad owned 2 of them, or 3 even. No, I think 2.
The only place I've seen one of those is in Gran Turismo.
Exactly. Yeah. And my dad had one, and in Holland they were, the first type was called a 1000 for some reason, probably cc's, I don't know. And the other was a 1300. That's probably the engine, and that was a little bit different, but they were sort of the same. And I always like to build one of those. What you see is that, and they always do that. The kits are always the top model. So with the mirrors on top, that's probably a GT model or something. But I can probably change that into a normal model. And then I'll try and it was like a mustard yellow color, really ugly. And I have to try and find that color.
And, I remember that.
I reproduced that.
Yeah, that was like the Austin Allegro. That came in that crappy muddy yellow color.
But I am gonna try and look for that. So it's a very simple kit, but I just thought it would be nice to do that. And Oscar's dad also had one or two of those, I think. An orange one.
Orange one.
Yeah. That's.
I've actually it's more or less a memory of the week, I would say.
Well,
but I still know, and I do not know how the street is called, but you probably know it, Paul. When you drove from where I lived, from Pijnacker to your house in the past, you first went through Berkel. And then drove up to a street where there was a canal next to it. And then you drove to the Mols weg?
The Molenlaan.
The Molenlaan,
You're referring to the Grindweg, probably.
Okay. It was a small two-lane street with water next to it. And we were driving there, and I was very little, of course, but because maybe 4 or something when my dad had this car. And there was actually, he had to brake, and there was somebody driving too close behind him. And he crashed more or less his complete car on our back. But my dad had an what is it in English? Trekhaak?
Towing hook.
Towing hook. Tow bar.
Tow bar. So and it was really a big one with really a bar also underneath the bumper, I think.
Yeah.
So our car did not have a scratch. The other car was total loss.
That's actually, that reminds me of a funny story. Well, it wasn't really funny, but I worked, it was about, I don't know, 20 or 30 years ago. I worked with a colleague who was also a friend of mine. And we both got company cars. And I had my Toyota Camry custom wagon already for a couple of weeks. And he wanted to have a Volkswagen Passat. And that took 3 months longer to get. And so he got it finally. So I brought him. And the first thing that happened, that was when he went onto the highway, it started raining. And he switched on his wipers. And the wipers went like... Whoop, and one stayed outside, and it was just broken. So one was outside of the car, and the other one was still working. So that was the first. Yeah, that was really nice. But then, I think it's about a week later, we were driving out of Amsterdam, and at Amstelplein there were some lights, and they were. It was a strange situation because the light went green, and everybody started moving. And I followed, and this friend of mine was driving behind me. And then suddenly they stopped again, which you don't really expect, obviously. But something happened further down, so I had to brake, and he didn't see that. So he crashed his 3 weeks old new Volkswagen Passat in the back of my Toyota Camry. Also under the towing hook, the towing bracket. And his headlights were gone, his hood was shut, his bumper was, it was just a mess. And I didn't have a scratch, literally. So the both of us drove to one of those car detail where we had to go. And they said, and we had to explain what happened. So that's your car. What about your car? I said, well, he drove into me, so there's probably gonna damage too. He said, no. But that's another car. Or he didn't believe that the damage on my friend's car was caused by hitting my car, because there was really nothing wrong. In the end, obviously with these new bumpers, the inside of the bumpers normally is smashed, so they had to change that bumper anyway. But you didn't see it, so that's just that I just reminded that's if you have a towing, you should get a towing bracket just for that cause, just to make sure that you have a stronger a stronger rear end. That sounds a bit weird, but anyway, so
a strong rear end is always good. I had a similar, like my very first car in England. I overtook someone, and for some reason they turned into me sideways. And when we looked at the damage, it was kind of the same thing you were saying. I had a little VW Golf, and it had the plastic pieces around the top of the wheels. And there was a scratch on the plastic piece that went around the wheel arch on mine. And on his, there was a dent like this that went all the way from the front of the car to the back. So I did his front wing, his front door, his rear door, and his rear wing when he tried to turn into me. And my car had just a little scuff on the bit that stuck out where the plastic was.
That's amazing.
And the same thing, we got the insurance people round, and they looked at it and they went, "There's no way that this car caused that damage."
It's amazing. Yeah.
So,
well, anyway, so that's it happens, and it's, you should just have that. You probably have a towing bracket at the front too, just to make sure that you really have a tank. But okay, nice bull bar. Yeah.
So I have a technical question for you. Can you see the Skype chat?
No, I don't think I.
Well, I saw something coming in, but.
So if you click on the little chat icon at the bottom, I've sent you a message.
Let me see if I can.
That we can. Because I know how much you struggle when we try and do it on your phone, so I thought let me try and be a little bit more efficient.
That would be very efficient if I saw the chat, and I can't for some reason see the chat. So let me. Yeah, I can see it on my phone, but that's not gonna help.
Yeah, that's not helpful.
Let me see if I can pop out chat.
Down at the bottom of your Skype window, there should be a chat pop out.
Now I can see it. Got it.
There you go.
Welcome to the live chat. Edwin van den Berg said cool clock. That's cool. But I don't see anything else than that. I can see live chat.
No, it's the chat in Skype.
In Skype.
Oh, wait. I was looking at the chat in.
For all of our viewers that are watching this live, you can tell this is a high quality production
because it's very interesting. Okay, I've got it.
You need to squeeze my video up. I've become short and fat again.
Not in the stream. You should be fine, I think. I don't know. That's because you see that probably because I'm sharing that screen. So it's probably not. This is not going to happen in the stream. Actually, people won't see that. I'm pretty sure. But anyway, we've got the Optima Cinema X P2 4K laser projector review, which is cool.
It's a big mouthful.
Yeah.
So this is, as we were going to talk about TVs, I thought I'd send you this. This is a short throw projector.
I know.
So it's a projector that you sit on the shelf directly under the wall, so it doesn't project across the room. So if this is the wall where your screen is, you put the projector at the bottom here, and it shines up the wall.
See if I can.
So if you want to talk about big TVs that are 4K resolution,
the thing is, I've seen some, I think a test or something, and they say it's one of the best ever. Didn't Linus test this one? Maybe another one. And it was a 4K DLP laser projector anyway. And the short throw makes it really cool because you don't have this big thing on your ceiling in the middle of your room. And then you have the special screen, the reflective screen, which makes it pop more. And I think it's it's starting to be so qualitatively so good that they say it's almost as good as an actual screen. But that size, you can't.
Yeah.
I mean, the size is just much better than you can get in an affordable TV. So that's your big advantage.
Exactly.
They say, however, and here they in this picture that's on there is some light from outside coming on, but they say, if you have real sunlight coming in, it's not going to be very, very good. But did you actually see it in use, or did you just saw the reviews?
I've seen it in use with the correct screen, and when you use the correct screen, it's amazing. So there's a type of screen that you can get for these called a light rejecting screen, or an ambient light rejecting screen. And on the surface of the screen, there are millions of long triangular strips. So hard to demonstrate, but if you imagine each one of the little triangular strips is like this. So the back of my hand here is the screen. And then they have triangular strips like that. So any light falling from the top is reflected away from the screen, and any light from the laser projector coming up from the bottom is reflected out towards the eye point. And when you have a light rejecting screen, these things become amazing.
Yeah, I can totally. And the price it's about the same as a top line OLED. So this is a lot of text, so
But that's probably only the projector. Then you need the screen as well.
Yeah, that's gonna make it more expensive, obviously.
And how big can you get such a screen?
It's with one of those projectors, you can get up to about 150 inches.
Okay.
Whoa.
So you really need a big room if you want to get the full size picture. So about 300 centimeters, maybe 350 centimeters.
Yeah, that's really
cool.
For your man cave, for your cinema room. That would obviously be ideal. Instead of a.
And then play Lemmings on it. Yay.
Yeah, obviously. Oh yeah.
I'm just trying to send you another thing in the chat, but it's going to take me a minute because I need to get it off my phone.
Let me just talk a little bit about some other things that.
Well, yep. Well, the one remark about a projector. The normal ones, let's say normal ones, or the ones which are hanging at the ceilings in conference rooms, etc., make a lot of noise.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering how it is with this one, because what's annoying when you're watching movies or television is the noise of the beamer.
So my current setup, I have one of the quietest projectors that you can get, and it's up above my head and behind us, and this front throw laser projector is the same volume as that. So I've just put a picture in the Skype chat that shows you what my current setup looks like.
I'm gonna go there and see if I can. Oh yeah, there we are.
And do you need to move the projector more away from the screen to get the bigger overview, or?
Yeah, but with these short throw projectors, for every centimeter you move it away from the screen, you get about 25 inches more picture.
Oh,
so you don't need to move it that far.
Let me see if I can. That looks great, by the way.
We have one large room downstairs in our basement, which currently has a projector in it. So that's what my setup looks like at the moment. My goal is at some point to get a short throw laser projector and completely fill that white wall with the screen.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this was actually, it's sad to say, this is one of the reasons we bought this house. When we were looking around at houses when we first moved over here, this was the third or fourth house that we walked into, and we walked downstairs and saw that enormous white painted wall, and just straight away I said, that's a cinema screen.
Yeah.
So
this is so cool. Yeah. I'm not a bit jealous about it. No. Yeah.
Well, we looked at the price of TVs, and the price of a big, like a 65-inch TV, when we first did this, when we first put the screen and the projector in, the 65-inch TV was $6,000 or $7,000 at the time. They're much, much cheaper now. But when we first did this, the cost of the screen was like $400 and the projector was $2,400. So it was half the price of a TV for a picture twice the size. So, and the most expensive thing about owning a projector is the bulb.
Yeah.
That's something you don't have to worry about with a big TV. So if you have a good OLED TV or a plasma TV or something, it'll just work until it doesn't work. With the projectors, once the bulb goes out, you have to change the bulb, and then, that's a quarter of the cost of the projector again.
Yeah.
So... No. Yeah. So you need to extend your house backwards into the garden and put the cinema room out there.
Yeah.
Remove the garden. That becomes the cinema room. Yeah. It's all about priorities.
Yeah.
Great stuff. But I'm not gonna be able to go for that. I'm pretty sure. So if we're talking about TVs and not projectors, then you've got a couple of things. We discussed the motion thing last week, and there's a lot of settings you can change to make that a lot better than you see sometimes in stores. That's clear. Then you have a couple of other things. There's still the choice between OLED or like LCD in all its forms, like a backlit LCD. Yeah. And I think the only reason, as far as I understand, why you should want a non-OLED is because it has more brightness. It's more nits, so there's more light coming off of it. So in bright rooms, you have a better picture even when the sun is on it. Also, the HDR, HDR movies have higher intensity of light, higher nit values, and they generally have a more poppy picture on LCD screens because they're just able to put more light through the screen than OLED does. Yeah. On the other hand, the downside of that is that you don't have real blacks, or it's very difficult to get real blacks, and your contrast is just going all over the place.
Yeah, it's hard to have an absence of light when all you're doing is projecting light. Exactly.
So that's a very dark gray, and then there are all kinds of other issues. Somebody says the sound is off. That's weird. Okay, shouldn't be, but okay. Well, maybe that's. What was I saying? Okay, so that's the thing. So then you have to choose whether or not you want that. For me, I would think I would like the contrast. And I would much prefer the quality, the actual color reproduction and contrast of an OLED over that. So for me, now, OLED would be the only option where I would look. Then the OLED had this problem that it was only up to 1,000 nits maybe, and not 2,000 or 3,000 nits as LCD can do. But it's become better. The latest models, this year's models, they have heat sinks behind it, and they've done stuff so that OLED also has more light. So the HDR pop in OLED has become better, and because you have the bigger contrast, it's better anyway, because it's about the difference in light and not the actual light that's more important. So now OLED, even with HDR, I think is becoming the standard, and you should probably look for that. And then obviously all the other things there. It's not without reason that you've got OLED TVs 55 inches for €1,000, and you've got OLED TVs 55 inches for 3,000 or 4,000 or even more euros. So there is a lot of quality difference, and as far as I can see it, a lot of that is about color reproduction and motion handling, just how they make pictures on the screen without jitter and all that kind of stuff. So
it's also the quality of the panel that goes into it, because there's only 2 or 3 people that manufacture the panels, like Samsung and LG, and they do low-cost panels and they do high-cost panels. So if you put a high-cost panel with some good software and everything in, that's when your TV starts to get more expensive.
So then when
is there is there any way to know if they put in an expensive or cheap panel?
There's plenty of websites where they will tell you which model of TV has which panel.
Okay.
But yeah, like Paul was saying, once you go from like €1,000 to €3,000, you've moved to the more expensive panel.
Automatically.
Basically, you know, if you're buying like an €800 Vizio, it's the cheap panel and it will catch fire.
There's that's another thing. OLED is organic and it degrades, same as plasma would do, and that caused a lot of concern years ago with burn-in and stuff like that. And it seems like that's actually a non-issue now. They have managed to put in all kinds of stuff to make that a non-issue. And then again, maybe after 10 years, maybe it will happen. But you know, technology is going so fast that you probably need 2 other TVs already before 10 years. But so OLED is still the way to go. And then you look at color reproduction and in general, although different brands have good and bad TVs, in general there are 2 important things. Do you want to look movies like Blu-ray discs, HDR movies? Are you looking at that, or do you want a game on it? Because latency is a really important thing, and VRR, variable refresh rates, and all that kind of thing is becoming more important if you play games on it. And then in general, they say that LG and the QLED Samsung televisions are the best for gaming in general. For good reproduction of actual creators' intent, so movies and the good colors and all that, Sony and Panasonic are a little bit better in that area. So for me, actually, if I do gaming, it's non-latency important. I'm not playing shooter games or whatever, so I don't think I need an actual gaming television.
See, you've missed a trick here, because if you play shooters, you now have one more thing to blame your bad aim on, and you can now blame it on your TV as well. The other person's cheating, the other person's hacking, the other person's using an aimbot. The latency on my TV is too bad. It cannot possibly be that I'm a crappy player.
That's another thing, but I'm not into that, so I'm not gonna look at that. So for me, I tend to move towards Sony or Panasonic TVs, or maybe LG, because they still make. I mean, they actually make the panels, the OLED panels. Sony and Panasonic both have OLED panels from LG in them. So then it's all about image processing, and that's where they make the difference. And then again, the motion handling seems to be a little bit better overall in Sony TVs, but the actual picture quality and color, correct colors and stuff like that, is Panasonic is a little bit better. And then you've got things like the smart part of the TV, which I never used up until now, but Sony has a Chromecast built in, so that makes it then a little bit better. So then you could maybe turn to Sony. Sony the TVs in itself look a little bit better. I think Panasonic has never been great in the looks of TVs.
Design, yeah.
And the universal truth with these TVs is that they're so thin, the sound is terrible.
But I've got an amplifier.
You have to get a sound bar or something.
Cinema system, which I've used for years now. I never used TV sound anyway, so that's not important. But they do have more expensive types with bars under it. For me, that's not important. But that's another thing.
I just think it's funny when you see them advertising this miraculous sound, and the TV is this thin. And you're like, you're not getting miraculous sound out of that.
No, definitely not.
So
true.
By the way, that sound was a text alert from a friend of mine whose surname is Goat, so I used the goat sound for his text alert. That's basically telling me my lunch is on the way.
Okay. Well, it's 9 o'clock already, so we're at the end anyway. So maybe I don't. This is not at all.
We can carry on this next week as well.
Maybe do a little bit more research, look at what we find, and then discuss it between us.
See, what we need now is for Oscar and me to convince you to buy a TV so you can unbox it on the show.
Yes, I would really love to do that, but
well,
I'll start the Kickstarter campaign with $1.
Yeah. Open for a new telly, so
okay.
It's I'm not. It's not that it's needed between now and 14 days, but.
So my job is to convince you to actually get a projector and put a new room on the house.
I think.
No. I think it's really a TV for now.
Okay.
Or maybe a new house. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I have an AirTag update.
Yeah, let's do that.
Weirdly, it's still in the mail center at Perth Airport. I don't know why it's not moved for a week. It did briefly go to DHL, and then it went back to the mail center, and it's still where it was. So it's been there for 9 days now.
Weird.
Shall we send this guy? Shall we send this guy of an email or whatever this site and say, hey, we see our package is already for 9 days in there.
Yeah.
What's happening?
Why is it still? Yeah.
I don't know. Customs can take a long time. Even if there's nothing wrong, they can just take a long time to process packages. So I've seen 2 or 3 weeks packages on Schiphol waiting just for customs. So maybe it's that. Maybe it's something to do with that they don't trust the package because it's like a ticking time bomb or whatever. But I don't know. We'll probably hear about that. I can't see any updates on my tracking. It just...
it just says arrived.
So that doesn't help us much. So let's hope that we've got some more news next week.
I can confirm it's arrived.
Yes,
it's been
exactly.
there for 9 days.
Well,
I know
that's
exactly
a good thing
where it is.
because at least we know that.
I could fly to Australia and go and get
it back. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, that's it for today. Thanks a lot. I did have somebody saying the sound was not there. If that's the case, then we've done this for nothing. But at least we'd had some fun ourselves. So we'll check that if that's really the case. We'll
check it in the playback and let me know what happens.
Thanks for the live viewers for watching. And if you see this later, please check in next week, 8 o'clock Tuesday. We'll be back with more fun and games. And I wish you all a good week. And I